Cathaoirleach. So, Minister, my question is in relation to the current discrimination of stay-at-home parents by them being excluded from the access to. It's actually the after-schools programme, and we did send a correction to your office, and I hope that it was received. It wasn't supposed to be for the actual total national childcare scheme, but specifically to the after-schools, which, as I think you'll know, that I actually raised this already the last time round. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks to Deputy Funchion for the question. I think initially it's important to state that stay-at-home parents are not excluded from the National Childcare Scheme. There's over 44,000 children have benefited from that scheme to date, and including in that wouldn't be many children of stay-at-home parents. And the NCS universal subsidy is up to €1,170 per year and is available to all families, including stay-at-home parents. An income-related subsidy is payable to children up to 15 years of age, and the subsidy level is determined by the family's income and the child's age. The number of hours subsidised is determined by the parent's employment or education arrangements. Stay-at-home parents who are not engaged in work for 2 hours a week or more, or not enrolled in an NFQ level 1 or above course, can avail of 20 subsidised hours of childcare per week if they are not below the current maximum threshold of €60,000 net household income. The 20 hours are available all year round for children who have not started school and in non-term time for school-aged children. This latter rule is based on evidence that where a parent is available to care for a child, the child's development needs are generally met through school participation. There are some exceptions to this, which I'll deal with momentarily. Where parents are working or studying, they can access 45 hours of childcare. My department and SOLAS are working to increase awareness of the NCS supports for parents considering further study and to highlight the availability of accessible courses which would grant eligibility for up to 45 hours of childcare. The NCS will be advertising shortly through the Further Education and Training Course Hub, fetchcourses.ie. My department will also be re-engaging with intro offices and ETB to promote awareness of the NCS. I think we've discussed this before, where children and families have extra needs, that general NCS subsidies or rules do not meet. Special sponsorship arrangements are available. With sponsorship, families can avail of up to 45 hours free childcare with no work or study rule, and sponsorship referrals can be made by a number of designated bodies, and already 700 children are being sponsored.
Thanks, Minister. I suppose, Minister, the issue is, and I'm conscious that I raised this in the last round of questions, and I wouldn't be raising it again if I didn't feel it wasn't still an issue, and it is consistently coming up, not just in my constituency, but right throughout the country. Literally from Donegal to Cork, people have issues, and it's specific about the after-schools part of the programme. And I know that you did say last time round that it was a new enough scheme and you were willing to have a review of that. And maybe if you could elaborate further on when you would see that review happening, because currently children whose parents are not in either education or employment do not qualify for the after-schools. In the past, they possibly would have qualified through the subvention payment scheme. And so this means that an awful lot of kids that were really benefiting from the benefits of after school, possibly homework clubs, possibly that was their place, they were getting a hot meal and a proper sort of dinner. And you know, we've often spoken about child poverty in here, and you know, childcare, early year settings, after school settings are so important in the eradication of child poverty. So there is a bunch of children falling through the cracks. Sorry, I'll come back in.
Thanks, Deputy. And look, I take the points you've raised on this very seriously, and that's one of the reasons why we're taking this new initiative to make parents aware of the very wide range of courses that they can take. And if they take, in many of these courses, level 1 courses, 2 hours a week, if they take those courses, they get the full 45 hours of childcare, which will resolve that particular issue. And that probably wasn't very well known. So that's why we're working with SOLAS, with intro offices around the country to make that available and make that information known to parents. But we're also aware that there is the sponsorship, because 700 is good, but it's only a start. I want to see more children using the sponsorship arrangements. So we're engaging with the county and city childcare committees to enable them to put that information out further. We're also engaging with the SIPCs across the country so they can make parents aware of the sponsorship arrangements and link up and advise parents about how to actually tap into those sponsorship arrangements.
Funchion.
Thanks, Catherine, and thanks, Minister. I do welcome that part of it in terms of engagement and consultation. But the reality is, for a lot of people, even it might seem like, oh, a 2-hour course, why couldn't you do that? And you'll end up getting your 45 hours. For some people, they mightn't actually just be in a place right now in their lives that they actually can access that or actually have the capabilities themselves to engage in that. And I feel that there is kids falling through the cracks as a result. And that scheme that you're talking about, does that cover after schools, or is it just for a full daycare place in a childcare setting? So I would have a concern, because the concern seems to be, I mean, there's huge issues in the childcare and early years sector, and we could discuss it at length, and I'd love that opportunity. But there is a particular issue right now in after schools, and we are seeing closures. We're going to see more closures, and what will happen is those places will be gone forever. So it's important that something is done now for the children of parents who are not at work and who are not doing a course. And even if that course is only 2 hours, they may not be in a position right now, and there are children that are at risk of potentially falling through the cracks, but not children maybe that are at the attention of TUSLA. It's not at that stage, and that's the category. And it was brought to my attention as well, like children who maybe English isn't their first language, come from Syria or other countries. So, I think I appreciate the work that's being done on it, I genuinely do, but I think there's a little bit more to get right there. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Deputy. Well, look, I recognise your recognition of what we have been trying to do to increase knowledge about the sponsorship, both as regards parents, but also in some of the major organisations. I think we have to do more with TUSLA to ensure that from the top of the organisation down, they understand. And obviously, TUSLA is a huge organisation, and I'll be talking about that with the Chief Executive of TUSLA when I meet with him and the Chair for our quarterly review. I take your point about after school and after school clubs and homework clubs. So we're doing a little bit more work in that sphere right now. I don't have anything clear to say on it right now, but we are doing some more work there to see if there's anything, particularly as regards the appropriateness of the existing sponsor bodies. So look, we're looking into that further, and if we have any more news on that particular point, I'll be sure to update you and update the Oireachtas. But I do take your point on that issue. Thanks.